there's a ton of shell casings.
A father of 8, riddled with bullets.
Oh, my God!
Detectives suspect a madman may be terrorizing the neighborhood.
This dude out here robbing and killing.
But no one wants to talk.
Oh, son of a bitch. I don't have one single person that's going to be able to stand up in court.
But first,
one shot right to the middle of the chest.
a young mother murdered in her hotel room.
She just stopped breathing.
When a killer targets easy prey.
And knocks on the door.
Almost like she was expecting them.
She's meeting strange men. She has no idea what they're capable of doing.
She didn't deserve to have her life taken, period.
And the clock.
Get him to the door right now.
Mobile, Alabama. 9:47 a.m. A hotel off I-65.
What is the emergency? I don't know, I was asleep. I turned around and some guy, I think he was trying to take her money. And then he pulled a gun out and he shot her. I'm sending the paramedics now.
Police and paramedics rush to the hotel and find a young woman on the floor, dead.
My daughter, Paris, is due any day now. What I'm worried about is that my wife will go in labor while I'm working this case. But when you're up for the next homicide, once you get that phone call, you have to drop everything and, respond to the scene.
Got a driver's license.
21-year-old Jessica Newcomb, a single mother, attended community college for nursing before dropping out. She lived in Hattiesburg, Mississippi, and leaves behind a 5-year-old son.
Pretty much the same age as my sister, man. It's freaking crazy. One shot right to the middle of the chest. It came out on the left side, on the back.
Look at that. Bullet went through.
Lodged in the carpet is a .40 caliber slug.
So the suspect was pretty much standing over it with the gun. Were there any witnesses?
The 911 caller has been brought to homicide.
The victim and the witness, they were in the room together?
Yes.
Okay. Let me check and see if anybody else saw anything.
All right.
Hey, how you doing? I'm Detective Roger. Were you here earlier?
No.
Did you know anybody across the hall or anything? Any arguing or anything like that?
No.
Okay. The good thing about it happening at this location is that the hotel is mostly cameras inside and outside.
So we're working on getting that footage.
But right now we have the witness at headquarters, so we're going to talk to her now. I'm Detective Rogers, my partner, Detective Nettles. When did y'all check in?
It was Monday. Made him from Hattiesburg.
The 911 caller says she and Jessica live 2 hours away in Mississippi.
What brings you to Mobile?
Just meets up with guys. That's her job. That's how she makes money. She does like sexual favors of some sort.
Okay. So this morning, what happened?
I woke up to her sitting on the bed saying no, no. And this guy was here. He was like, give me the money, I'll blow your brains out. And then she still was saying no. And so he let off a shot. I thought it was like a warning shot. But then she said, I got shot. So I started screaming, just give me the money. And he moved her out of the way.
She says the shooter found Jessica's money under the mattress and stole it.
Got on the phone with 911 and she just stopped breathing. Jess has always known that something bad could happen to her. She's always known that somebody could come and rob her, do something to her, but...
Okay. Have y'all met this guy before?
I've never seen him before.
Did you see his face?
Gwinnett County, Georgia. 1:25 p.m. An apartment complex in Norcross.
Gwinnett County 911.
I need you to come now. There was a shooting.
Okay, are you with the person that was shot?
I left him there because he was shooting. I was scared.
The person doing the shooting, where are they?
I don't know.
When police arrive, the shooter is gone. But inside an apartment, they find a man on the floor, shot dead.
One male dead, shot multiple times.
Corporal Shannon Coolness will lead the investigation.
We got an ID on him yet?
Yeah.
42-year-old Joseph Lamont Love, known as Joe, was a local rapper and music producer. An entrepreneur who gave back. He ran a nonprofit that helped feed the homeless. He is survived by his fiancée and 8 children.
One bullet is under the scalp, one is in the neck.
Joe was shot 13 times.
There's a ton of shell casings.
The team finds 13 9mm shell casings, leading from the living room into the kitchen.
That's not a good way to go.
Have you come back here yet?
Inside the victim's recording studio is a broken window.
What the hell happened? I'm Detective Coolness with Gwinnett County Police, okay? I'm gonna be handling this, all right? What's your name?
William Gallagher. I'm his best friend.
Okay. So what happened?
I don't know what happened.
You didn't hear anything today or see nothing?
No, I'm sitting right here. I mean, I heard the firecracker.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's gunshot.
Okay. What would have happened, man?
Yeah. I heard you selling the weed in the studio.
Okay. How much weed are we talking about?
The friend says Joe also ran a car washing business.
You know, you get paid cash, you clean cars and everything. I know it was robbery.
Okay.
Coolness.
Yeah.
Then,
Someone else was in the apartment and jumped out the window.
the 911 caller was in the apartment when the shooting went down. Patrol found him and brought him to Westside Precinct.
We have a guy who supposedly busted his way out once the gunshots occurred. I'd like to see what he has to say. How you doing? I'm Shannon Coolness with that. I work with Gwinnett County Homicide, okay? How long you been knowing Joe?
A couple of years now.
Okay.
Today, I was actually going over there to listen to some of the music he had going on. We was in the studio sitting, talking, you know, and then the doorbell. And he was like, well, we gonna check the door. So I'm in the studio. All I hear is the guy say, give it up, give it up.
gunshots. I was scared he was gonna come in there. I waited for a moment, and then I broke the window with the chair, ran out, called 911.
Okay. Did you ever see who was inside?
No. I was too scared to even go up there.
Anything you could think of, man? Anybody we could start thinking of?
No.
Okay.
I don't want to try to catch you.
I'm a hunter, and I'm gonna figure this out. Okay. At this point, we have no idea who was the potential shooter. It could have been a robbery that went bad, but why empty the clip like that? We're still at square one.
The next day,
hey, this is Detective Cleveland with Gwinnett County Police.
the team follows up on a message from a tipster.
You said you had some information you thought may help us out?
Yeah, Trees was talking. They were saying it was this guy they called Los, and they call him Carlos. His real name is Charles.
What else do you know about Charles?
He said he's always hanging out up at this Chevron.
Okay. If you hear anything else, let us know.
All right. Head over to the gas station. This gas station is known to have a lot of problems with people loitering and causing trouble. I just want to see if they have any records on anyone named Charles. How y'all doing? How are you? Do you keep a stack of your criminal trespasses? Can I check them out? Thank you, sir. So we have one guy named Charles, black male, a little older, so we'll see. Bacote Charles. They call him Low. He's got quite a variety.
34-year-old Charles Bacote has several prior convictions, including battery and carrying a weapon without a license.
It's a stretch, but at least it's something more to look at.
Then,
Detective Coolness.
another tipster calls in.
Now, look, I don't know everything, but I'm 100% sure Lowe's big dick. Believe it.
In the Mobile homicide of 21-year-old Jessica Newcomb, Detective Jermaine Rogers hopes her friend sought the killer.
Lights are off. It's pretty dark. I mean, no.
Okay. What was it she's using to contact people?
Back page.
Do they call and give them a heads up, like, hey, I'm on my way?
Usually, she gets a call or a text, and then someone shows up.
Okay.
Well, here, get back here. I'll take it over.
Rogers hands off Jessica's phone to the tech team in hopes of figuring out who contacted her before the murder.
Hopefully our tech guys can get into it.
She's a female. She's by herself. She's dealing in a lot of cash, meeting strange men that she has no idea what they're capable of doing. And it puts her in a very vulnerable situation.
While they wait to get into Jessica's recent contacts,
The call came out at 9:44.
surveillance video from the hotel comes in.
Hopefully we get a good look at this guy. Oh, there we go. Knocks on the door.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem like he's panicking. He's not running.
That's how long you stay in there?
6 minutes. Look at those shiny glasses.
Can't really see his face.
No. See if I can catch him on another floor. He's got to be around here somewhere. He just left. Couldn't just disappeared, man. Man, we have him leaving on any of the cameras. That's crazy.
Let's see if he's leaving through the back parking lot.
Less than a minute after the murder.
This car leaves at 9:45.
This may just be the murderer.
Car's kind of unique. Missing hubcap. Can't wait to put hands on this guy. She didn't deserve to have her life taken. Period. 21 years old and lose your life the way she did is, I mean, it's horrible. And also, she had a 5-year-old son, and that's even worse. One way or another, we're gonna catch this coward. And we're gonna do it before this baby drops, if she don't come tonight.
So is there any news with the baby? I mean, what's going on?
They asked if she wanted to be induced on Friday if she doesn't go into labor. She said no, she wanted just to come natural.
Go ahead and sign for it and keep it in your stuff.
All right.
One day into the investigation, Rogers gets access to Jessica's phone.
Hell yeah. Let's see what we have here. Yesterday, she had a missed call at 9:21. Text message. This guy says, I want to come see you. She says, okay, I'll give you my room number when you get here. And that's at 9:26. He said he's here at 9:33. So this is
There's no other text around that time, is there?
No other text. Next phone call was to 911.
Is that a name in there?
Just a number. Man, my heart about to beat out my chest, man.
In the Gwinnett County murder of Joseph Love, detectives just received a second tip saying the killer is a man called Los.
I'm trying to help you out if Los did that.
Okay. How familiar are you with Los?
We used to be cool.
Okay. You gonna be cool if we roll over there, like right now?
Yeah, sure.
All right. Thanks, Bet. I have a new best friend. Right here, bro. Have a seat. How are you doing? This is Detective Cleveland. I'm Detective Coolness.
How you doing?
So let's just go over it
I was like, apartment cooling, you feel me?
He says yesterday, before Joe's murder, he was at his apartment just down the street.
And then here comes Lowe's, hustling, out of breath. Doors unlocked, he busts in, then he pulls out his gun. Cause he crazy like that. He lived by that gun.
Now, so he comes to the door, he's panting. What's the first thing he says?
Bro, I got the on up out of here.
He says Los used his phone to call for a ride out of the neighborhood.
Okay. So what does he say after he's saying, I gotta get out of here?
He's like, man, I need to smoke. Where the weed at? I'm like, bro, I ain't got no more. I can smoke. He's like, here's $5, go get the weed, but don't go to Joe. Implying like, you can't go to Joe. Why? Because Joe is dead. And so he tell us don't go to Joe, then Joe pop up dead. Like, that's suspicious.
What happened after that?
He left.
So before yesterday, when was the last time you saw Los?
2 weeks ago. Me and Los walked down to Joe's spot.
He says he and Los went to Joe's apartment to buy weed.
As soon as the dude see Los, he like, oh, no, we closed for the night. I had a feeling like Joe just don't want to serve him.
Did Los seem pissed off?
Oh, yeah, he seemed pretty pissed.
You got some pictures here.
They show the witness a photo of Charles Bacote.
Oh, turn the light on. That's his ass right there. That's Carlos.
He confirms that Charles Bacote is Los.
Is there anything else you can think of that might help us out?
You go back a few months, he shot up a car with a dude in it.
Oh, really?
Bruh, this dude out here robbing and killing for nothing. So when y'all come for him, y'all gonna have to come, because he don't give a
He's a man. I am pretty sure that it was Los who shot Joe, but it's all just speculation at this point. We have no hard proof connecting him to it. We're just gonna have to keep digging. This is Detective Coolness.
As the first 48 slips away,
how you doing?
Joe's family calls.
Joe got Lo's name, got an ID to me, and we really want to know why he's still out here.
Nobody has told me they know for sure that Los killed Joe. Nobody has said they've seen him running from the house. We have things we need to do to connect him to it.
The streets do talk.
And I understand the streets talk, but I can't take the streets onto the stand. I'll keep following up, but we're not there yet.
Okay.
All right, bye. It's hard to make them understand that it needs to just be more than, well, I heard from somebody.
In the first 48, Gwinnett County Homicide responded to the murder of 42-year-old Joseph Love. Received a tip that the suspected shooter is known as Los. Identified Los as 34-year-old Charles Bacote. Spoke to a witness who saw Bacote with a gun moments after the shooting, but need more evidence to charge him.
Wear your running shoes tomorrow, because we're hitting these streets. Hitting them hard. I'm Detective Coolness with Gwinnett Police.
Detectives canvass the neighborhood,
What's up, big man?
hoping to uncover a witness.
Anything else you've been hearing Los is responsible for?
Murder of Joe.
Where'd you hear it?
I don't know.
What do you know about this Los guy?
It got nothing to do with that.
Oh, son of a bitch. Have you heard anyone saying they know for a fact Carlos did this?
No.
Thank you. Nobody is saying where their information is coming from. Nobody is saying much of anything to the point where I could get warrants. I can't get this guy off the streets right now.
With her case at a standstill,
One of our witnesses mentioned that Los was involved in another shooting. That shooting victim survived. We're going to talk to him and see if he says Los was the shooter. If he does, we can bring Los in for that ag assault.
All right.
Can I talk to you about a couple things real quick? All right. And I'm Detective Coolness, okay? We've been talking to some people, and they said that you might have been in a car when it got shot up.
Yeah.
What happened?
It was like 2 a.m. I didn't see all the way back.
He says a couple of months ago, he was sitting in the car when a man walked up and opened fire.
I heard like 6 or 7 shots.
Did you see anybody when this all happened?
In the murder of Jessica Newcomb, Mobile Homicide hopes the phone number used to set up a meeting with her will lead them to the killer.
The phone comes back to Frederick Emil Knight, Jr.
27-year-old Frederick Knight, Jr. has no prior convictions.
We got an address for him?
Tim Pritchard.
We're gonna see if we can find Freddie.
The phone comes back to Frederick Knight. However, that alone isn't necessarily enough for us. We still need to talk to him and see if he puts himself on the scene there.
That's the house right there. Game time, baby. You gonna hit that backside? Hey, Frederick here?
What's wrong?
Tell Frederick to come outside.
You need to get him to the door right now.
What is wrong?
Step outside and we'll talk about it.
I'm not gonna step outside.
Go get him and bring him to the door right now.
Listen, where is he? Is it on? Can you go get him? Hey, get on your knees for me.
Get down on the ground.
Get on your knees.
Ground. Get him out the door and we'll clear the house.
Is anybody else inside that house?
Man, I just got off work, man. What's going on, man?
What's your name?
Frederick.
What's your last name, Frederick?
Knight.
Inside, officers find a .40 caliber pistol.
The vehicle matches the vehicle we saw on video. You can tell that front tire, the hubcap is zip tied on there. It obviously has a problem staying on that vehicle.
What's up, man? Walk me through yesterday morning. Did you go to work?
Yes, sir.
What time you went to work yesterday?
It was about 9:30.
Did you go anywhere before?
No, sir.
Well, here's the thing, man. We know you're not telling us the complete truth, all right? You went somewhere else yesterday. Your opportunity to tell us exactly what happened and why it happened.
If I tell you the truth, like, I don't think you'll believe me.
Man, that's the only thing you can do. So just start from the beginning.
Well, it started like, one guy that we on my job, he was like, it's this chick. She's like an escort or whatever. I texted her, like, I wanted some service. And she was like, cool. Like, told me I was going, come over.
Where did you meet her at?
At the room.
The hotel room?
Yes, sir. I got there, she was like, well, you got the money?
He claims Jessica asked him to pay $60.
And I was like, I got $40. That's a thing for her. and I can pay the rest of the pills. She was like, "This cool." And then, you know, like, she serviced me and stuff. I paid her, and then I gave her the pills. And I was like, okay, let me get my money.
But I thought you and her agreed you were going to give her $40 and some pills.
Yes.
So why were you asking for the money?
Because the pills were more than, you know, like the rest of the money that I'm supposed to get. And she wouldn't give me the money, and like, we got an argument, and she pulled out a knife. I was like, chill out. I'm like, I don't want to hurt you, man. Don't do that. So I pulled out my gun on her.
In Gwinnett County, detectives suspect Charles Bacote of murdering Joseph Love. Now, they hope the victim in an unrelated shooting will ID Bacote as the man who tried to kill him.
Did you see anybody when this all happened?
No.
No? All right. Thank you, sir. I think he's lying, but self-preservation. 2 of his friends just showed up. What's up, guys? Who shot up the car?
Told me that she was up. Everybody's saying the last couple of shootings in here, he's been doing it.
Okay. What are the last couple of shootings in here?
Like, somebody got found with them, about 100.
Detectives get a name for a homeless man who was also allegedly shot by Los.
Man, crazy.
Thank you, sir. Hopefully we can figure out if Los really shot him. That would help us out.
I think that would be huge.
1 week later, Coolness has made contact with the victim from the laundromat shooting.
I just need him to come forward and be honest about what happened.
There he is.
That's him? What's going on? I'm Detective Coolness. People have been talking about your incident and who might have shot you. Tell me about what happened.
He's been shooting at me.
He says the shooter was aiming at someone else when one of the bullets ricocheted and struck him in the leg.
Okay, do you know who shot you?
Carlos.
Okay, so did you see this guy, Carlos?
Yeah.
Now, who's that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Did you know Joe?
I knew him.
Yeah?
It's just killing style.
It does. He's confident Los was the one who shot him. It's going to be something that we can move forward with in getting warrants against him, getting him off the street, but also bringing him in for an interview.
Three weeks later.
Okay. Love you. Bye. Los was picked up.
Patrol responded to an unrelated domestic dispute at Bacote's mother's house and took him into custody.
All right, man, what's going on? All right. We're just hearing a lot going around about the kind of person you are. And I would rather hear what you have to say than letting other people tell it. All I'm trying to do is get your side of the story, okay?
I got to have my lawyer.
Charles' current charge at this time is an ag assault. All right, man, you ready? We're going to take the evidence from the shooting of the guy in the car, in addition to shooting the guy in the leg outside the laundromat, and from Joe's murder, and send it over to the DA's office. We'll see.
Hello?
Hey, Shannon.
What's up?
Got some good news for you.
The grand jury decided to indict your Joseph Love case, 2 ag assault counts and felony murder.
Well, this is cool. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
All right, we'll talk to you soon.
All right, take care.
Bye. We had some circumstantial evidence to put the coat in the area with the gun immediately after the shooting of Joseph Love. We have him in the same area committing 2 other ag assaults, so that helped with the indictment. Hopefully this will bring some closure to the family.
One year after Joe's murder.
They took somebody that was really important. And we're left with these children who are having to go day to day without daddy.
We just, we talk about him every day and look at pictures. We'll listen to his music.
I feel happy when I listen to his music.
Say we love you, Daddy. Love you, Daddy. Send Daddy the blues. Let him
go. In the Mobile murder of Jessica Newcomb, suspect Frederick Knight Jr. just admitted to pulling a gun on her.
Then she tried to grab the gun and just pulled off.
And then what did you do after that?
I left.
The other problem with everything is there's no knife in the room.
I know. I threw the knife off of the overpass.
Come on, man. Why would you do that?
Because I was scared, man.
And where's the pills at?
The pills got left there.
Then she would give you the money back?
Yes, sir.
So you left the pills and you left the money?
Yeah.
Like, I'm straight up, you lying to both of us?
I'm not lying to you, man.
The money wasn't in the room, okay?
What about the other chick?
So where is it? She didn't have it.
Hey, look, man, I ain't trying to be with you, but, I'm telling you, that's exactly what happened.
He pretty much broke down. He said he shot this girl and said that he was there.
33 hours into the first 48, Detective Rogers closes his case.
Frederick, we charge him with robbery first and murder. Let's head up. I believe Freddie thought that it was gonna be an easy robbery, but this girl, she put up a fight. She refused. You're not getting my money. Today we got justice for Jessica, and that was good. And we got that before my daughter is born. So overall, today was a good day.
Frederick, what happened, man? Do you have anything to say to Jessica's family? Do you want to talk about what happened in the hotel room?
You Robert?
Did you know her?
What about your family?
I pray every night she would come back from heaven and play with me again. Every day. That won't happen.
When we found out, it broke the family down. But it came together. We supported each other. to the person that took her life, you almost destroyed a loving, wonderful family. But you didn't. You only let Jesse go home early.
London, you know who that is? That's her baby sister. Paris Alea Rogers, newest of the Rogers family. My job deal with death, and to see my daughter born is like you celebrating life. A lot of people like to take life for granted.
The digital clock on the desk of Detective Sergeant Jermaine Rogers glowed with a stark, unsettling red, 947 anti-meridium. The numeric precision of the device was a brutal counterpoint to the chaotic human drama that had just begun to unfold, shattering the routine rhythm of a Tuesday morning. Another siren's mournful wail, a rising crescendo of urgency, drifted faintly from beyond his office walls, signaling yet another tragedy demanding immediate, unwavering attention. His gaze, weary but resolute, drifted to a framed ultrasound photograph perched precariously amidst the organized chaos of his desk, a tiny, miraculous silhouette of his unborn daughter, Paris, a beacon of hope and profound personal worry, due to grace the world any day now. A familiar knot tightened in his gut, the primal, protective fear of any father-to-be, magnified 100-fold by the grim reality of his profession. He worried relentlessly, a quiet dread gnawing at his peace, knowing the delicate balance between the profound personal anticipation and the ceaseless demands of his badge. He had uttered the sentiment aloud countless times, a heartfelt plea against the universe's cruel timing. What I'm worried about is that my wife will go on labor while I'm working this case. It was a cruel irony, this dance between life and death, creation and destruction, that defined his days. The sacred duty to protect and serve, to bring justice, often clashed brutally with the intimate, overwhelming joy of building a family. But the rules of the badge were immutable, etched into the very core of his being, a silent code that resonated with every beat of his heart. A principle so fundamental, it bordered on the spiritual for those who wore the uniform. But when you're up for the next homicide, once you get that phone call, you have to drop everything and no response is sent. There was no, maybe later, no, let me just finish this one last thing. When death called, duty answered, instant and absolute, demanding an unwavering commitment that eclipsed all other considerations, however personal, however deeply felt. The dispatch call had ripped through the crisp Mobile, Alabama, morning air with the abrasive immediacy of raw terror, a desperate, breathless plea piercing the tranquil veneer of a city just beginning its diurnal routines. The initial fragments of information, relayed with a stark, unvarnished urgency by the dispatcher, painted an immediate, horrifying tableau of chaos and brutal violence. Yeah, there's a F-ton of shell casings. She is meeting a strange man. She has no idea what they're capable of doing. These were not merely abstract data points. They were the jagged edges of a nightmare, instantly vivid and deeply unsettling. The terse, almost primal language used in the initial report immediately underscored the gravity of the situation. A F-ton of shell casings. Not just one or two spent cartridges, which might suggest an accidental discharge or a warning shot, but a proliferation, hinting at a furious, perhaps desperate, or even gleefully violent discharge of a weapon. This was not merely a crime of opportunity. It hinted at an act of overwhelming, potentially premeditated aggression, an execution, or at the very least, a situation that had escalated with terrifying, deadly speed into a sustained act of ballistic fury. The mental image of those metallic husks, silent witnesses scattered across a carpeted floor. Each representing a potential end was a grim, indelible premonition of the arduous, emotionally draining work that lay ahead for the responding officers and detectives. The phrase, "she's meeting a strange man, she has no idea what they're capable of doing," resonated with a chilling familiarity within Rogers, an echo of countless previous cases where innocence, or at least a lack of malice and a profound underestimation of human depravity, had met with brutal opportunism. It spoke of inherent vulnerability, a young woman venturing into an unknown encounter, her trust perhaps misplaced, her awareness of danger tragically undeveloped, or her circumstances simply too desperate to allow for full circumspection. She was, in Rogers' seasoned mind's eye, an instant phantom, a potential victim whose trusting nature or dire needs had been cruelly exploited. Then, the profound humanistic imperative, the very core of his vocation, came through with stark clarity. She didn't deserve to have a life taken, period. No caveats, no justifications, no moral relativism. The statement cut through the immediate analytical demands of the situation, anchoring the investigation in its fundamental moral purpose, to honor the sanctity of a life unjustly ended. It was a declaration of unwavering empathy, a vow to pursue justice for the wronged. The clock, always a relentless, unforgiving adversary in homicide investigations, had begun its merciless count, and the clock is ticking. Every second, every minute was a precious, irreplaceable sliver of opportunity to unearth the truth, to gather fleeting evidence, to bring a fragile ghost of solace to those left behind to mourn. For homicide detectives, their chance of solving a murder is cut in half if they don't get a lead within the first 48 hours. This harrowing statistic was more than just a cold data point. It was a pulsating mantra, a driving force that propelled every investigator, an oppressive weight that pressed down on every officer's shoulder. The race against time wasn't merely a tired cliche. It was a cold, hard, professional reality, a critical 48-hour window of peak evidentiary potential before trails grew cold, memories faded, potential witnesses dispersed, and shadows deepened into impenetrable darkness. Swallowing the truth whole, the urgency was palpable, a thrumming undercurrent of stress that permeated the entire mobile homicide unit, each officer acutely aware of the rapidly dwindling seconds. At precisely 947 and Meridium, that Tuesday, the transient tranquility of a nondescript hotel nestled conveniently off I-65 was shattered. The 24-hour churn or roadside inn, usually a temporary haven for countless travelers, sales representatives, and transit workers, had been cruelly transformed into a chamber of horror, a silent witness to a life abruptly and brutally extinguished, the rising cacophony of sirens, a mournful wail cutting through the incessant morning traffic and urban din, announced the unwelcome, yet tragically necessary, arrival of law enforcement and medical aid. Police cruisers, their blue and red emergency lights flashing an urgent ballet of despair and disruption, converged rapidly on the address, followed closely by paramedics, their faces etched with the familiar resolve and solemn determination of those who confront life's most abrupt and tragic ends, prepared for the grim reality that would greet them. The first responders rushed into the hotel, their heavy boots echoing with an almost shocking reverberation down a nondescript corridor that, only moments before, had hummed with the anonymous, unremarkable sounds of mundane hotel life. Faint televisions, distant conversations, the soft click of closing doors. Inside one of the rooms, the door left ajar in the chaotic wake of the emergency call. A scene of profound sorrow and shocking violence awaited them. On the floor, tragically still, lay a young woman, her life unjustly severed, a cruel victim of an unknown, merciless hand. A colleague's voice, choked with the palpable shock and emotional exhaustion of the moment, relayed a witness's initial distraught and fragmented account, painting an immediately visceral, heartbreaking picture of the chaos that had just unfolded. I don't know how to sleep. I turned around and some guy, I think he was trying to take her money. The sheer immediacy of that statement, delivered with raw terror and profound weariness by a survivor, immediately provided a potential, if agonizingly common, motive: robbery. But was it merely a robbery gone lethally wrong, or something far more sinister, perhaps entangled in deeper, darker currents? The questions, myriad and urgent, piled up in Rogers' mind even before the preliminary sweep of the scene was complete. What kind of man was this guy? Why this particular hotel, this specific room? What was the exact context of the encounter? And how had it escalated so swiftly to deadly force? These were the kernels that would soon blossom into a full-fledged investigation, tiny, but vital seeds of inquiry sown in the barren, unyielding ground of a life extinguished. The victim was soon identified, the name resonating with the grim, heavy thud that always accompanies the reality of youth tragically lost. 21-year-old Jessica Newcomb. The words hit Rogers with a familiar, unsettling weight. So young, he absorbed the terse summary of her short, truncated life, a promising future irrevocably erased. A single mother attended community college for nursing before dropping out. Her aspirations, now mere fragments of a dream, had been cruelly snatched away by a cold act of violence. She had hailed from Hattiesburg, Mississippi, a journey of 2 hours from Mobile. Her presence in this particular hotel, under these precise, tragic circumstances, raising immediate, concerning red flags in the experienced minds of detectives. But the starkest, most heartbreaking tragedy, the detail that pierced through even the most practiced layers of professional detachment, was encapsulated in one brief, devastating phrase. She lived in Hattiesburg, Mississippi, and leaves behind a 5-year-old son. A 5-year-old boy. That single, raw detail pierced through Rogers' practiced professionalism, reaching a raw nerve within him. The vivid vision of his own child, so tiny and innocent, whose arrival was so eagerly anticipated, now superimposed over the tragic image of Jessica's son, suddenly and irrevocably orphaned by a senseless, brutal act, stirred a deep, visceral, righteous anger within him. Every officer in that silent, grim room, every first responder, carried the unspoken weight of such an immeasurable loss, a profound human cost that extended far beyond the immediate victim. The devastating impact of their work was never solely on the deceased. It echoed outward, rippling through communities, shattering lives, tearing at the very fabric of families with an enduring, merciless ferocity. A fellow officer, a young man, standing somberly over the fallen young woman, murmured in a voice heavy with disbelief and profound sorrow, "I've been with the same age as my sister, man. This is like crazy." The universal shock, the profound and sickening impact of sudden violent death, especially of someone so achingly young, was a constant, grim reminder of life's agonizing fragility, made all the more potent and heartbreaking when the victim's age or circumstances mirrored one's own. Loved ones, bringing the cold reality of mortality uncomfortably close to home. The crime scene, a canvas of forensic clues awaiting painstaking interpretation, quickly began to yield its grim secrets under the meticulous attention of the forensic team and medical examiner. The initial, preliminary assessment of Jessica's body by the medical examiner delivered the brutal, stark reality of her injuries, an objective testament to the perpetrator's intent and the overwhelming force of the attack. One shot right to the middle of the chest. A direct, unforgiving hit, speaking volumes about the shooter's intent to kill, or a chaotic struggle that brought about a devastating outcome. It came out on the left side, on the back. Look at that. It went right through. The trajectory, the sheer force of the projectile, the clean, devastating passage of the bullet through her body, all were clear, irrefutable testaments to its devastating, life-ending power. A single, decisive act of violence, cold and unforgiving, had stolen Jessica's future, leaving only desolation in its wake. A sharp, experienced eye from the forensic team quickly located a crucial, silent piece of evidence. Lodged in the carpet is a .40 caliber slug, the tiny, deformed piece of metallic evidence, a silent but potent messenger from the scene of the crime, spoke volumes to the trained investigators. A .40 caliber weapon, a powerful handgun, known for its stopping power, had been used. The precise location of the slug within the carpet fibers, meticulously documented and photographed, combined with the detailed medical examination of the exit wound and the probable position of the shooter, all began to converge, allowing the detectives to construct a terrifying mental reconstruction of the event. So the suspect was pretty much standing over with a gun. The chilling implication was undeniable. A position of dominance, perhaps a calculated execution, a remorseless act, or a final, desperate act of ultimate control in a close-quarters struggle, designed to ensure the most fatal outcome. The thought alone sent shivers down the spine, painting a stark picture of malevolent power. Rogers, ever pragmatic, his mind already racing through potential investigative pathways, always searching for an immediate entry point into the darkness, turned his attention to potential eyewitnesses, hoping for a thread of human testimony to begin unraveling the mystery. Were there any witnesses? The 911 caller, already a central and crucial figure in this unfolding drama, had been secured by responding officers. The 911 caller had been brought to homicide. Her presence at the scene, her immediate, frantic report of the incident, made her an invaluable asset, a primary source of immediate, real-time information. The victim and the witness, they were in the room together. Yes, sir. This was a significant development, a stroke of investigative fortune. An actual eyewitness, present during the terrifying commission of the crime, was a rare and precious asset in the first critical hours of any murder investigation, providing a perspective that physical evidence alone could never fully capture. Let me check and see if anybody else saw anything, a patrol officer offered, poised and ready to begin the tedious, often unrewarding, yet absolutely essential work of door-to-door canvassing in the hotel's immediate vicinity. All right, got you. I'm going to take a walk. Rogers himself initiated a wider, more strategic sweep of the immediate area, moving beyond the crime scene perimeter. He approached other hotel guests, their faces a mixture of curious apprehension, thinly veiled fear, and polite inconvenience. Their Tuesday mornings irrevocably interrupted by the unwelcome arrival of sudden, brutal death. Were you here earlier? No. Did you know anybody across the hall, or anything? Oh, arguing or anything like that. You want to go? Okay. He encountered the usual, predictable mix of individuals. Some were cooperative and genuinely helpful, others tight-lipped and wary of entanglement, and still others genuinely ignorant of the horrors that had unfolded just doors away, insulated by the very anonymity the hotel often provided. The hotel, in its bustling, transient anonymity, frequently shielded such dark acts from wider knowledge until it was tragically too late. A silent stage where profound human dramas played out in unobserved isolation. Yet, even in its inherently transient nature, a modern hotel, with its ubiquitous surveillance, often offered a silent, unblinking witness to the movements of its occupants and visitors. This location is an hotel. There's mostly cameras inside and outside, so we're working on getting that footage. Surveillance cameras, the omniscient eyes and ears of the digital age, were increasingly vital, indispensable tools in solving complex crimes. They provided objective, unblinking accounts, meticulously capturing movements, facial features, vehicle types, and timestamps that could prove invaluable in establishing precise timelines, identifying potential suspects, and corroborating, or even challenging, witness statements with irrefutable visual evidence. But right now, we have the witness at headquarters, so we're going to talk to her now. The most immediate and pressing priority, however, was to carefully extract crucial, unadulterated details from the eyewitness, while her memory was fresh, raw, and untainted by subsequent exposure or the passage of time, before her profound trauma began to distort perceptions, a natural but challenging psychological response to witnessing such horror. The stark, utilitarian environment of the precinct interrogation room awaited the eyewitness. Rogers, seasoned by years of listening to countless tales of tragedy, steeled himself mentally and emotionally. The young woman, the very person who had made the frantic 911 call, sat across from him, visibly shaken, her hands trembling uncontrollably, her eyes still wide with a lingering terror of the immediate past. He began gently, his voice low and empathetic, aiming to establish immediate rapport amidst a profound shock and disorientation. "How do you know?" "I'm going to take a ride." "Just know one." "I'm going to take a nose." "When did you all?" "Check in?" "It was Monday." "When did you hear me?" "I'm going to have you straight." Her initial answers were fragmented, a struggle to articulate coherent thoughts, her mind still replaying the horrific scenes. Patience, profound and unwavering, was absolutely key in these delicate initial stages. He sought to anchor her fragmented narrative with concrete, easily verifiable details, hoping to provide structure to her chaotic recollections. "When did you all check in?" "It was Monday." "When did you hear me?" "I'm going to have you straight." These temporal markers, these fixed points in time, were absolutely essential in constructing a reliable and accurate timeline of the events. The witness, gradually, with gentle encouragement, found her voice, though it was still laced with raw emotion and palpable fear. The 911 caller says she and Jessica lived 2 hours away in Mississippi. This specific detail immediately reiterated the unusual, perhaps prearranged, nature of their presence in Mobile. Rogers, ever the astute questioner, inquired directly, "What brings you to Mobile?" Her answer, delivered with a mix of resignation, palpable shame, and blunt honesty, immediately introduced a troubling layer of vulnerability and inherent risk to Jessica's life, a lifestyle that was deeply unsettling and explained much of the unfolding tragedy. "Just me and some of those guys. That's her job. That's the next one of these. She does sexual. Favors of some sort. Okay." A grim, somber understanding settled over Rogers. Jessica Newcomb, a young single mother with previously mentioned nursing aspirations, had, through circumstances unknown, been engaged in sex work. This difficult and often dangerous context didn't diminish the tragedy. If anything, it amplified it, painting a poignant picture of profound desperation and heightened vulnerability. A young life lived on the dangerous, unforgiving fringes of society where trust was an unaffordable luxury, and encounters with strangers often carried inherent, terrifying, and sometimes fatal risks. It explained her presence in the hotel, the clandestine meeting with an unknown man, and the tragically rapid, lethally effective escalation of events. This was not a judgment from Rogers, but professional assessment of the high-risk environment in which Jessica had been operating. With the somber background of Jessica's life established, Rogers, with a gentle but firm hand, steered the interview back to the horrific, immediate present, seeking the granular details of the attack itself. "So this morning, what happened?" The witness's words, once fragmented and choked with terror, now poured out, a torrent of remembered fear and a desperate reenactment of the terror. "I woke up to her, sitting on the bed, saying no, no, and this guy was here, and he was like, 'Get your money out, blow your brains out,' and then she still was saying no, and so he left her shop. I thought it was like a warning shot, and then she said, 'I got shot,' so I started screaming and getting the money, and he moved her out of the way." The account was chilling in its stark simplicity, a clear demand for robbery, a subsequent struggle for control, a desperate plea for compliance met with courageous, albeit ultimately fatal, defiance, culminating in an act of cold-blooded, merciless violence. The mention of a warning shop, a gunshot initially meant to intimidate, a brutal display of lethal intent designed to instill terror and secure compliance, quickly transformed in the terrifying reality of the moment into the actual fatal blow, extinguishing Jessica's life. The witness's raw, immediate reaction, driven by primal instincts for self-preservation and profound fear for a friend's life, to retrieve the demanded money, underscore the overwhelming intensity and immediate lethality of the threat. The shooter's absolute ruthlessness, his chilling disregard for Jessica's very life, his singular, immediate focus on the money even as she lay dying, bleeding out, was deeply unsettling. She says the shooter found Jessica's money under the mattress and stole it, got on the phone, went down the lane, and she just stopped breathing. The final, agonizing moments of Jessica's life, violently stripped away for a paltry sum of cash, were described with an almost unbearable, casual cruelty by the perpetrator, according to the eyewitness. Then came a puzzling, almost disassociative observation from the witness, perhaps a reflection of the profound survivor's guilt she experienced, or simply the overwhelming psychological trauma of the situation distorting her perceptions. Jessica's always knowing that something can get out of her. She's always wanting somebody to come around and do something to her. Okay, have y'all met this guy before? I've never seen him before. Did you see his face? The detective, understanding potential for psychological disassociation, quickly but gently honed in on the single most crucial detail, the shooter's identity. If he was an absolute stranger, a phantom from the shadows, the path to identifying and apprehending him would be exponentially harder, forcing the investigation down more complex, time-consuming avenues. The witness's firm, unequivocal declaration, "I've never seen him before," was a significant blow, adding immediate layers of complexity to the already arduous hunt. A nameless, faceless phantom who had materialized briefly in a hotel room, committing an act of horrific violence, now seemed to vanish as effortlessly into the vast, anonymous urban landscape as he had appeared. The relentless 48-hour clock continued its merciless march, now ticking down precious, irreplaceable minutes not just for a single case, but for two separate, deeply tragic narratives unfolding simultaneously, hundreds of miles apart, across the sprawling southeastern United States. Just over 450 miles west, a second scene of inexplicable, brutal violence was unfolding, demanding the immediate and equally urgent attention of another dedicated team of investigators. The sheer geographical distance between Mobile, Alabama, and Gwinnett County, Georgia, did nothing to lessen the chilling, heart-wrenching similarities in the abrupt, brutal nature of these two lives so callously extinguished. It was precisely in Gwinnett County, Georgia, a thriving, expansive suburban area northeast of the bustling metropolis of Atlanta, at 1.25 post-meridium, when the second urgent, distressing call ripped through the calm of an otherwise ordinary afternoon, shattering its tranquility. An apartment complex in Norcross, a residential area, a place often considered a sanctuary, a haven of presumed safety, now brutally disrupted by the chilling, unmistakable sound of rapid gunfire. The hurried, panicked words captured on the 911 recording spoke volumes of immediate chaos and overwhelming terror. Gwinnett County 911, I need you to come now. Okay. Are you with the person that was shot? I don't know what vehicle he was doing. I was still the person doing the shooting. Where are they? I don't know. A desperate caller, clearly an eyewitness or intimately connected to the incident, grappling incoherently with profound shock and overwhelming chaos, unable to provide coherent, actionable details beyond a raw cry for help and a terrifying acknowledgement that the immediate danger, the shooter, had seemingly vanished into thin air. When police arrive, the shooter is gone. The stark, grim reality of the immediate aftermath of a violent crime. The perpetrator, a shadowy figure retreating into the anonymity of the sprawling apartment complex, had disappeared swiftly, melting away before law enforcement could fully converge on the scene. Inside an apartment, a space that should have been a refuge, they discovered a man on the floor, tragically shot dead. Another life abruptly and brutally snuffed out. Another family left to contend with unimaginable grief, shattered by a senseless act of violence. The visceral impact of the scene was so profound that a first responder, momentarily overcome by the sheer brutality, exclaimed, "What's going on? What's going on? I'm out of here." The raw, almost instinctual rejection of the violence, the visceral feeling of wanting to flee the horror, was a testament to the sheer, gut-wrenching brutality of what lay before them, a stark illustration of the psychological toll even hardened first responders experienced. Corporal Shannon Coolness will lead the investigation. Corporal Coolness, a seasoned, unshakable veteran of the Gwinnett County Homicide Unit, his face set in a grim mask of professional determination, walked into the apartment. His eyes, trained by years of exposure to unimaginable horrors, immediately began to survey the scene with the practiced, almost attached gaze of an experienced investigator, his mind rapidly cataloging every minute detail, already processing the countless layers of complexity that each new, fresh case invariably presented. His first question, always a priority, articulated the immediate investigative imperative. "We got an idea on him yet?" Identity was key. The sooner they knew who the victim was, the sooner they could begin the painstaking process of understanding why he might have been targeted, unraveling the web of his life and its tragic intersection with a violent end. The victim was soon identified, the details of his life immediately amplifying profound sense of loss. He was 42-year-old Joseph Lamont Love, known as Joe. The initial biographical details that emerged painted a poignant, complex picture of a man deeply woven into the very fabric of his community. He was a local rapper and music producer, an entrepreneur who gave back. This wasn't a life lived on the fringes of society, cloaked in anonymity. Joe was a respected figure, someone who actively cultivated connections, tirelessly built a successful business, and, notably, distinguished himself through altruism. He ran a nonprofit that helped feed the homeless. The senselessness of his murder was amplified by the inherent goodness he brought into the world, the positive impact he had on the lives of others. He was more than a mere victim. He was a community pillar, a creative force, a humanitarian whose light had been brutally extinguished. And now he was gone, leaving behind a devastating, irreplaceable void. He is survived by his fiancée and 8 children. 8 children. The profound human cost of his sudden, violent death, echoing the raw tragedy in Mobile, was immediately and heartbreakingly apparent, underscoring the ripples of sorrow that extended far beyond Joe himself. Joseph Love's vibrant future, a rich tapestry of artistic endeavor, entrepreneurial spirit, and devoted community service, was abruptly, violently undone. The immediate forensic examination of Joseph's body by the medical examiner revealed a terrifying and shocking level of brutality. 1 bullet is under the scalp, 1 is in the neck. Joe was shot 13 times. 13 times. The sheer, overwhelming number of wounds spoke volumes to the investigators, painting a chilling psychological profile of the assailant. This was clearly not a simple robbery gone wrong where a single, expedient shot secured compliance or facilitated escape. This was an act driven by extreme rage, a brutal, unforgiving overkill, an undeniable intent to annihilate, to extinguish every last spark of life with overwhelming force. It could have been a powerful, chilling message sent to others, or simply an uncontrolled, devastating outburst of uncontained fury. There's a SH ton of shell casings. The echoed words from the Mobile case reverberated, creating an eerie, almost preternatural parallel, but with a different caliber. The team found him. He finds 13 9mm shell casings leading from the living room into the kitchen. A violent, desperate pursuit, a harrowing retreat, culminating in a brutal, final end, played out across the very rooms of his home. The scene spoke not only of chaos and terror, but a relentless, merciless assault, an act of almost unimaginable savagery. Coolness, observing the grim tableau with a heavy heart, stated gravely, his voice barely above a whisper, "That's not a good way to go." A profound understatement for such a brutal, drawn-out demise, a testament to the horror that had unfolded. As the painstaking crime scene processing continued, Coolness's experience, I noted another significant, potentially crucial detail. Inside the victim's recording studio is a broken window. This could be an entry point for the assailant, a desperate escape route for someone else, or a potent indication of fierce, violent struggle that had damaged the property. The broken glass, shattered and dangerously sharp, was a silent, unblinking witness to a moment of intense desperation or forceful egress, a testament to the chaotic energy unleashed within the apartment. What the hell happened? The question hung heavy in the air, a stark, visceral summary of the bewilderment and profound shock that pervaded the apartment, felt by every officer present. Amidst the swirling chaos of the active crime scene, a man identifying himself as the victim's best friend appeared, his face a mask of raw grief, profound confusion, and palpable distress. Coolness, balancing the immediate, urgent need for information with a sensitive awareness of the friend's raw, emotional state, approached him. "I'm the tech with Coolness. I'm going to be handling this." "All right. What's your name?" "I'm his best friend." "Okay. So what happened?" "I don't know what happened." The familiar refrain of utter incomprehension in the face of sudden, unexpected, and devastating violence was a common reaction from witnesses. "You didn't hear anything today?" "I've seen nothing." "No, I'm SH right here. I mean, I hear the firecrackers." "Yeah, I don't know if it's Case." "Sharon." "Okay." The friend's words were disjointed, fragmented, grappling desperately to make sense of the unbelievable. His desperate mention of firecrackers was a profoundly poignant, if tragically inaccurate, attempt to normalize the horrifying sound of rapid gunfire, a fundamental psychological defense mechanism against acknowledging the unthinkable, the unspeakable reality of murder. Coolness, with practiced calm, persisted, gently probing for any detail, no matter how minute or seemingly insignificant, that might cast even the slightest sliver of light into the engulfing darkness. What would have happened? "Man, I didn't know you told me we would do studio." "Okay, how much weight are we talking about?" The hands are mixed. The friend seemed to allude to the victim's recording studio, a central hub not only for creative endeavors and music production, but perhaps, in the shadowy corners of the friend's implication, also for other, less savory, and potentially illicit activities that often lurked in such environments. The friend says Joe also ran a car washing business. "You know, you get paid cash. You clean cars and everything. I don't know what we're shing about." "Okay, more." "Yeah, then, these mundane, everyday details were crucial to understanding Joe's life and potential associations. Amidst the unfolding, complex investigation, a critical, previously unnoticed piece of information surfaced regarding the broken window, shifting the entire dynamic of the inquiry. Someone else is in the apartment and jumped out the window. The 911 caller was in the apartment when the shooting went down. Patrol found him and brought him to West Side Precinct. This was an absolutely monumental development, a second eyewitness, not just present during the terrifying incident, but actively escaping the horror, could potentially provide crucial first-hand details about the shooter, the precise sequence of events, and perhaps even a clearer understanding of the motive. We have a guy who supposedly busted his way out once the gunshots occurred. I'd like to see what he has to say, but I'm shing almost with that. I work with my county homicide, okay? Coolness, his mind already formulating a precise interview strategy, immediately understood the immense, inestimable value of this individual's impending testimony. He was no longer just an anonymous caller. He was a survivor, a direct witness to the unfolding horror. The precinct interrogation room, once again serving as a crucible of truth, awaited the second witness. This man, another acquaintance deeply connected to Joseph Love, was clearly traumatized, still visibly reeling from his narrow escape from the apartment. Coolness began, his voice calm, measured, and authoritative, yet infused with an underlying tone of empathy, aiming to anchor the narrative in concrete, factual details. How long have you been known, Joe? Couple years now. Okay, today, I was actually going over to listen to some of the music. Yeah, coming on. He was in the studio sitting, talking, and then the doorbell. The witness, despite his visible distress, was proving to be a coherent, reliable source of information, slowly, deliberately piecing together the events. The narrative began to unfold with terrifying clarity and vivid, unsettling detail. And he's like, well, he's going to check the door. So I'm in the studio. All I hear is a guy saying, give it up, give it up. He's like, give it up, give it up. Joe, and then all I heard was gunshots. I was just getting get on the chair. I waited for a moment, and then I broke the window with the chair. Brano, call 911. Did you ever see who was inside? Was it too scary to even go up there? Anything you need to think of? Maybe? Anybody we could start thinking of? No. Okay. This witness, unlike the previous, more peripheral one, provided a direct, first-hand account of the initiation of the attack, a blunt, unmistakable robbery demand, the immediate, shocking escalation of gunfire, and his own frantic, instinctual act of self-preservation that propelled him to shatter a window with a chair and make a desperate, terrifying escape. His clear description of the verbal exchange, give it up, Joe, definitively confirmed the robbery motive, at least in its initial overt stages. Yet, even with this terrifying proximity to the event, this raw, visceral experience, the witness could not definitively identify the shooter's face. A common occurrence when adrenaline floods the system, distorting perceptions, or when profound fear paralyzes memory, or when the perpetrator's face is intentionally obscured. Coolness, his mind buzzing with the limited but highly significant information gleaned from the interview, concluded the initial session. I don't want to try to teach you. I'm a hunter, and I want to figure this out. Okay, at this point, we have no idea who was a potential shooter. It could have been a robbery that went bad. But why empty the clip like that? We're still at square one. The sheer, inexplicable brutality of 13 shots, the chilling excess, the psychological profile suggested by such overkill, still nag persistently at coolness, creating a nagging discord in the robbery gone wrong narrative. Robberies didn't typically involve such excessive, remorseless violence unless there was a deeper, more primal motive at play, perhaps intense rage, a long simmering revenge, or a pre-existing animosity that transformed a simple crime into a vicious execution. This was clearly more than just a random, opportunistic street stick-up. They now had a confirmed motive, robbery, but still no definitive suspect. And the horrific nature of the violence raised more perplexing questions than it answered, keeping them, figuratively, at square one in terms of perpetrator identification. The 48-hour clock, unforgiving and relentless, continued its inexorable, audible count. The next day dawned gray and unforgiving, its muted light offering no respite, no moment of peace to the tireless, emotionally drained investigators. Detective Cleveland, a sharp and meticulous colleague of Corporal Coolness, took a call that proved to be a sliver of fragile hope emerging from the oppressive darkness. Hey, this is Detective Cleveland with Gwinnett County Police. It was a tipster, a voice in the shadows, speaking in fragments, yet offering potentially crucial information. She said you had some information you thought may help us out? Yeah. Trees were talking. They were saying they were just dying. They called me, and they called me. Carlos, and her name is Charles. What else do you know about Charles? Okay, if you hear anything. Else, let us know. All right, I'm going to go to the gas station. The tip, though cryptic and somewhat disjointed in its phrasing, trees were talking being street slang for rumors or gossip, gave them a tangible, albeit initial, lead, a name, or at least a nickname. Carlos, which the tipster suggested corresponded to a real first name, Charles. It was a fragile, slender thread, yet in the pervasive absence of anything else concrete, it was a vital piece of string to pull on. The streets often did talk, even if in hushed whispers and metaphoric riddles, and sometimes those very whispers led directly to significant case-breaking breakthroughs, piercing through the silence of fear. Cleveland, seizing upon this tenuous lead, immediately decided to canvass a local hotspot known for its informal network of street intelligence. This gas station is known to have a lot of problems with people loitering and causing trouble. It was a place where information, like shadows, might linger, where names might be intimately known within specific circles, where the informal, unwritten network of street knowledge might just hold the crucial missing clue. He approached the station attendant, a familiar face in the challenging landscape of urban police work. Hiya, Bill, how are you? Do you keep a stack of your criminal trespasses? Can I check them out? Thank you. Sir, these records, meticulously maintained by local businesses to officially bar troublesome individuals from their property, often serve as informal, yet highly valuable directory of local persons of interest, frequently providing not only names but also physical descriptions, and sometimes even invaluable photographs that could break open a case. A diligent, careful search through the thick stack of criminal trespass records yielded a possible match, a name that resonated with the street whispers. So, we have one guy named Charles. Black male, a little older. So, we'll see. Baycoat. Charles. They call him Low. He's got quite a variety. The full name, Charles Baycoat. The street nickname, Low. A general physical description, black male, a little older, and a troubling, extensive history revealed by the trespass record. He's got quite a variety. The details began to coalesce, forming a more complete, if disturbing, picture. 34-year-old Charles Baycoat has several prior convictions, including battery, and carrying a weapon without a license. This was not a clean slate. This was a man with a documented history of violent behavior, battery, and illegal weapons. Possession. Details that align chillingly and directly with the brutal nature of Joseph Love's murder, immediately elevating Lowe to a person of significant immediate interest. It's a stretch, but at least it's something more to look at. A promising lead, at last pulling them, however tenuously, out of the disheartening square one they had found themselves in. As the Gwinnett County detectives relentlessly pursued their tenuous yet promising lead regarding Lowe, the mobile homicide unit was also making significant, albeit parallel, progress, thanks to the painstaking, detailed work of their forensic technicians. Then, check the fullness. Another tipster calls in. Another phone call, another whisper from the streets. Another potentially vital piece of the intricate puzzle that might finally fit into place. This time, the call was directly about the mobile home side of 21-year-old Jessica Newcomb, a specific detail suggesting a deeper, more intimate knowledge of her movements and associations. Detective Jermaine Rogers, the heavy weight of the ticking clock and profound, underlying promise of a newborn daughter still ever present in his mind, clung to the hope of a significant breakthrough. Detective Jermaine Rogers hopes her friends sought to kill her. Thanks. Rob, it's pretty dark in here. I know. What was it she's using to contact people? Backpage. They call and give them a hazard. But hey, I'm on my way. Usually, she gets a call or a text, and then someone shows up. Here, Get back here. The mention of Backpage was a crucial, illuminating detail. It was a well-known and tragically often used online platform, notorious for its classified sections, which were frequently exploited for soliciting sex work. This specific detail precisely corroborated the eyewitness's earlier statement about Jessica, offering sexual favors. And, more importantly for the investigation, it immediately provided a direct, viable avenue for tracking her most recent contacts, her phone. Jessica's mobile phone was now perceived not just as a personal device, but as a digital treasure chest of potential leads, a precise, digital record of her last conversations, her final appointments, the moments leading up to her death. I'll take it. Rogers hands off Jessica's phone to the tech team in hopes of figuring out who contacted her before the murder. Hopefully, I'll take eyes and get into it. The Specialized Digital Forensics Unit, with its state-of-the-art tools and highly specialized expertise, immediately became the next crucial link in the investigative chain. Tasked with working tirelessly to penetrate the layers of encryption and data to unlock the final, fatal exchange. Rogers paused for a moment, his thoughts drifting to the inherent, profound risks Jessica faced daily, contemplating the stark realities of a young life lived in such palpable, often exploited vulnerability. She's a female. She's by herself. She's dealing with a lot of cash. Meeting strange men that she has no idea what they're capable of doing, and it puts her in a very vulnerable situation. This wasn't a judgment or a condemnation from Rogers. It was a detached, analytical, and deeply empathetic understanding of the unfortunate and precarious circumstances that had tragically created the fertile ground for such profound, devastating tragedy. The isolation, the anonymity, the high-stakes financial transactions, often clandestine and unregulated. All these factors compounded to create a deadly cocktail of inherent danger, making her an easy target for unscrupulous and violent individuals. While the dedicated tech team labored with intense focus to unlock the intimate secrets contained within Jessica's phone, another avenue of investigation, pursued simultaneously, began to bear significant fruit, revealing tangible progress. While they wait to get into Jessica's recent contacts, the call came out at 944. Surveillance video from a hotel comes in. The objective, silent, unblinking eye of the hotel's comprehensive security system. The surveillance footage, a meticulously time-stamped series of images captured from various angles, would provide an invaluable, irrefutable account of the precise movements around Jessica's room, devoid of human bias or error. Also, we get a good look at this guy. Up there, knocks on the door. He doesn't seem like he's back, and he's not running. The detective, meticulously analyzing the video, spoke with a quiet intensity, a palpable mix of anticipation and initial frustration as the grainy, low-light images flickered across the screen. The suspect's demeanor, calm, seemingly collected, notably not running, suggested either an extreme, practiced composure in the aftermath of a violent act or a chilling, almost pathological detachment from the horrific consequences of his actions. The exact duration of his presence in the room, precisely captured by the digital timestamp, was chillingly precise. How long you stay in there? 6 minutes. 6 agonizing minutes. More than enough time to engage in an illicit transaction, to argue over money, to execute a robbery, and, ultimately, to take a life. A brief, terrifying interval that extinguished a vibrant young life forever. The grainy, often indistinct images on the surveillance screen presented both immense promise and inherent challenges. Look at those shiny glasses. Can't really see his face. The perpetrator, perhaps unwittingly or perhaps intentionally, had partially obscured his facial features, or perhaps his glasses, by reflecting the available light from the corridor, making precise identification difficult. It was a common, frustrating hurdle in forensic video analysis, and the dedicated search for a clearer, unobstructed view continued relentlessly. See if I can catch him on another floor. He'll be around here somewhere. He just left. He could have just disappeared, man. I mean, we haven't been leaving on any of the cameras. That's crazy. Let's see if he's leaving through the back part of the lot. The initial elusiveness of the suspect, the profound frustration of his seeming disappearance into the labyrinthine corridors and exits of the hotel mirrored the grim reality of countless, challenging investigations where perpetrators vanished without a trace. People like transient ghosts could simply melt away, becoming phantoms in the urban landscape. But the persistent, all-seeing eye of technology, combined with meticulous, painstaking police work and an unyielding determination, often found a way to pierce through the veil of anonymity. Less than a minute after the murderer, this car leaves at 9:45. A vehicle, distinct in its appearance and characteristics, captured leaving the hotel premises almost immediately after the murder, emerged as a critical piece of the unfolding puzzle. This may just be the murderer. The car is kind of unique. Listen to her. Okay, can't wait to play hands with this guy. The vehicle's unique features, perhaps a particular make, model, color, or a distinguishing mark like a damaged hubcap or a dent, provided a tangible, trackable lead, a physical entity that could be traced, identified, and eventually definitively linked back to a specific person. The raw determination and profound sense of vengeance in the detective's voice were palpable. A silent promise whispered to the young victim whose life had been so unjustly cut short. Rogers, in a moment of reflective introspection, returned to his overarching sense of moral imperative, the guiding principle that fueled his relentless pursuit of justice. She didn't deserve to have a life. It's taken a period. 21 years old, and you lose your life. The way she did. I mean, it's horrible. Also, she had a 5-year-old son, and that's even a little bit worse. The profound, searing injustice of it all resonated deeply within him. A fundamental wrong that screamed for swift, decisive rectification. The additional, heart-wrenching layer of a young child, left parentless, without a mother due to such a senseless act, fueled his already potent resolve, transforming his professional duty into a deeply personal quest. One way or another, we're going to catch this coward, and we're going to do it before this baby drops if she don't come. Tonight, his personal mission, the fervent wish for his own child's safe arrival, became inextricably linked to the professional one, the father and the detective striving with every fiber of his being to secure a semblance of closure for Jessica's family before a new life arrived in his own. A thoughtful colleague, attuned to Rogers' profound personal journey, inquired about his wife, about the impending arrival that so poignantly mirrored the tragic passing of life around him. So, is there any news with the baby? I mean, what's going on? Rogers offered a brief, welcome update, a moment of precious reprieve from the grim, immediate reality of murder investigation. They asked if she wanted to be induced on Friday if she doesn't go into labor. She said no. She wanted just to come natural. It was a simple, yet powerful, reminder of the fragile, wondrous power of life continuing, unfurling in its own miraculous way, even in the deepest, most oppressive shadow of death. One day into the investigation, 24 precious hours consumed, Rogers finally received the awaited, eagerly anticipated news. The tech team, working tirelessly, had succeeded in their intricate, demanding task. Rogers gets access to Jessica's phone. Hell yeah! The triumph, though small in the grand scheme of the murder's horror, was a significant, morale-boosting victory in the relentless, arduous fight against the ticking clock. The phone, a repository of intimate exchanges and digital footprints, now held the indisputable key to the killer's digital existence. So, we have here yesterday. She had a missed call at 921. This guy says, I want to come see you. She says, okay, I'll give you my number when you get here. And that's at 926. He says he's here at 933. So, this is my number. There's no other text around that time. Is there? No other text. The next phone call was to 911. Is that a name in? There? Just a number. The precise, horrifying sequence of events was laid bare, cold and irrefutable, meticulously captured in the precise digital timestamps of texts and calls. A specific time frame for the encounter, a specific, documented method of contact, leading directly and inexorably to the hotel room where Jessica met her tragic end. The killer had used his own phone, leaving a distinct, traceable digital trail, a glaring, ultimately fatal mistake in his calculated anonymity. The number, initially just an anonymous string of digits, was the exact, vital thread they needed to pull on. No name was immediately attached to it, but a number was a name waiting to be uncovered, a direct pathway to identity through diligent phone company records. The puzzle was far from completely assembled, but the outline of the perpetrator was becoming clearer, sharper, and undeniable. The perpetrator's digital footprint was now indelibly imprinted on the canvas of justice. A critical, self-inflicted error in his audacious, yet ultimately failed, attempt to escape accountability. Meanwhile, hundreds of miles away, back in Gwinnett County, the arduous pursuit of Lowe was intensifying, albeit along a more winding path. The street name, whispered from the shadows of the community, now carried the heavy weight of a possible murder charge, its implication chillingly clear. Detectives Cleland and Pullman were making significant strides, tirelessly following the slim, often ambiguous, lead provided by the anonymous tipster. Their painstaking investigation led them to a new, promising interview, a source that had promised to shed more definitive light on the elusive Lowe. The interview subject, an acquaintance of Lowe's, sat fidgeting nervously, his visible agitation and apprehension palpable in the sterile interrogation room. Cleland, skilled in the nuanced art of psychological questioning, began with a direct but empathetic tone, calibrated to put the visibly distressed witness at ease. I got my heart about to beat out my chest right now. I'm trying to help you out with Los. Okay, how? Familiar are you with Los? I'm here to be cool. Okay, you gonna be cool if we roll over there? Like right now? Yeah, sure. All right. Thanks, bud. I have a new best friend. All right. Bro, have a seat. How are you doing? This is Detective Cleland. I'm Detective Pullman. What are you doing here? So, let's just go over it. I was like, part of it was pulling it, The man, still visibly agitated and profoundly disturbed, began to recount his interactions with Lowe on the very day of Joe Love's brutal murder, his voice strained with remembered terror. He says yesterday, before Joe's murder, he was at his apartment, just down the street, and then here comes Los, hustled, out of breath. He busting. Then he pulls out his gun. Because he crazy like that, he lived by that gun. Now, so he comes to the door. He's panting. What's the first thing he says? I probably got you on the front of here. The image conjured by the witness's words was stark, unsettling, and profoundly incriminating. A man, identified as Los, appearing agitated, panting and out of breath, immediately displaying a visible firearm and making a deeply disturbing, self-incriminating statement. I probably got your expletive on the front of here, strongly implying direct involvement in a recent violent incident, possibly with the victim's blood on his clothing or person. This was not mere idle speculation. It was a direct, terrifying eyewitness account of Lowe's actions and chilling words immediately post-murder. The witness, gathering his courage, continued his harrowing narrative, revealing Lowe's desperate, immediate need for assistance and escape. He says Los used his phone to call for a ride out of the neighborhood. So, what does he say after he's saying, I got to get out of here? He's like, man, I need to smoke. More than me, I'm running back. I got no mind. So he's like, you saw the house. Go get the weed, but don't go to Joe. He's flying like, You can't go to Joe. Then why? Because Joe is dead. So he tell us don't go to Joe. Then Joe papa dead. Like, that's suspicious. The narrative was compelling in its detail and profoundly damning in its implication. Lowe, observed fleeing the immediate scene of the crime, in a clear state of agitation, in immediate possession of a firearm, confessing obliquely yet powerfully to a violent act, and then explicitly stating, with terrifying casualness, that Joe is dead, all while desperately demanding a ride out of the neighborhood and pointedly instructing the witness not to go near the victim's residence. The pieces of the puzzle began to fit together with an almost terrifying, undeniable precision. This was far beyond mere, unsubstantiated street gossip. It was direct eyewitness testimony to Lowe's immediate, post-murder behavior and his own incredibly self-incriminating statements. The psychological portrait of a killer caught in the throes of panicked escape and immediate regret or fear was rapidly coalescing into a clear, chilling picture. The detectives also, with a deep understanding of criminal psychology, sought to establish any pre-existing tensions or conflicts between Lowe and Joe, hoping to illuminate the specific motive for such extreme violence. What happened after that? He left. So, before yesterday, when was the last time you saw Los? Like, 2 weeks ago, me and Los walked down to Joe's spot. A previous encounter, perhaps revealing a simmering animosity or precipitating conflict, was a vital clue. He says he and Los went to Joe's apartment to buy weed. As soon as the dude see Los, he like, oh? No. Eat me clothes for them. I had a feeling like Joe just don't want to serve him. Did Los seem pissed? Off? Oh, yeah, he seems pretty pissed. This earlier incident, seemingly minor in isolation, provided a potential, powerful spark for the brutal, overkill scene in Joe Love's murder. Lowe, feeling profoundly disrespected, denied a simple service, exhibiting clear, intense anger, and then, 2 short weeks later, returned with a gun and emptying 13 shots into Joe's body. The refusal to serve him with drugs could have been perceived by an individual like Lowe, prone to violence and habitually carrying a weapon, as a profound, unforgivable insult, a public affront demanding brutal retaliation. The pieces of Baycoat's violent history and volatile personality were now interlocking, forming a chillingly coherent picture, a pattern of unbridled aggression, a perceived slight, and a brutal, disproportionate, and ultimately fatal retaliation. To definitively solidify the identification, the detectives presented the witness with a photograph of Charles Baycoat, the man identified from the criminal trespass records. We got some pictures here. They show the witness a photo of Charles Baycoat. Oh, turn the light on. That's his ass right there. That's Carlos. He confirms that Charles Baycoat is. Los, the crucial, irrefutable confirmation, the anonymous, menacing figure known as Los from the whispers of the streets now had a confirmed face and a definite name. Charles Baycoat, the man with a documented history of violence and illegal firearms, was definitively linked to the events. Cleland, ever thorough, asked if there was anything else, however tangential, that might prove useful to the rapidly unfolding investigation. Is there anything else you can think of that might help us out? When you go back a few months. You son of a car would have do it anyway. Oh, really? Bruh, this dude is out here robbing the killings for nothing. So, when y'all come for him, y'all gonna have to come because he don't give a get him, man. The witness's chilling, candid summation of Baycoat's character, an utterly ruthless individual allegedly involved in robbing the killings for nothing, indicating a casual, almost nihilistic disregard for human life and a history of unprovoked violence, solidified the portrait of a profoundly dangerous, remorseless man operating without a moral compass. His grim warning to the detectives underscored the very real, heightened potential danger inherent in apprehending Baycoat, highlighting his desperation and unpredictable, violent tendencies. Despite the powerful, compelling eyewitness account and corroborating details, coolness, guided by the rigorous demands of the legal system, acknowledged the immediate investigative limitations. I am pretty sure that it was Los who shot Joe, but it's all just speculation at this point. We have no hard proof connecting him to it. We're just going to have to keep digging. The detective's caution was not a sign of doubt, but a mark of his consummate professionalism. Belief, however strong, was simply not enough to secure a conviction in a court of law. They needed irrefutable, admissible forensic evidence to secure a charge that would stand up to scrutiny. Eyewitness testimony, while immensely powerful, often required concrete forensic corroboration to withstand the intense challenges of a judicial process. The direct, undeniable forensic evidence of Baycoat being at the scene of the crime and physically committing the murder, beyond the witness's account of his immediate post-murder behavior, was still lacking in a purely evidentiary sense. The strain of the first 48 hours of intense investigation was beginning to tell, a relentless grind that particularly weighed heavily on the victims' families, who yearned desperately for definitive answers and swift, unequivocal justice. This is technicalness. As the first 48 slips away, "How you doing?" Joe's family calls. Joe loves family, desperate for information, clinging to any news, had reached out, their voices tinged with raw grief and mounting frustration. The conversation was difficult, coolness carefully trying to manage their expectations. However painful, while empathizing deeply with their raw, profound grief. Joe got Los' name, got an ID, and we really want to know why he killed Joe. Nobody has told me they know for sure that Los killed Joe. Nobody has said they've seen him run him from a house. We have things we need to do to connect him to it. Coolness, patiently, yet firmly, reiterated the stringent demands of the legal system. The unyielding need for concrete evidence that extended far beyond mere accusation or rumor. The streets do talk, and I understand the streets talk. But I can't take the streets out to stand. I'll keep following up, but we're not there yet. Okay, all right, bye. The frustration was a shared, palpable burden. For the grieving family, the street's whispers, the undeniable network of informal intelligence, were powerful enough to instantly convict in their minds. But for the detective, those whispers, however compelling, were merely starting points, requiring painstaking, laborious verification and stringent legal corroboration. It's hard to make them understand that it needs to just be more than, well, I heard from somebody. This was a delicate, often infuriating balance of police work, translating transient, informal intelligence into legally binding, courtroom admissible proof. The ongoing, critical summary of the Gwinnett County investigation at this crucial juncture reflected the precarious, often frustrating, position they were in the first 48. Gwinnett County Homicide responded to the murder of 42-year-old Joseph Love, received a tip that the suspected shooter is known as Los, identified Los as 34-year-old Charles Baycoat, spoke to a witness who saw Baycoat with a gun moments after shooting, but need more evidence to charge him. The critical, gaping hole in the evidence was clear, directly linking Baycoat, with forensic certainty, to the actual firing of the murder weapon inside Joe Love's apartment. Without this, a murder charge would be an uphill battle, risking an acquittal. Coolness, ever resolute, his determination unwavering, immediately planned the next critical steps in the investigative process. We're running shoes tomorrow, and we're hitting these streets, hitting them hard. More tireless canvassing, more difficult, often unrewarding conversations, a determined attempt to shake loose further witnesses, uncover additional whispers, anything that might solidify their still circumstantial case against Baycoat and elevate it to a prosecutable level. The visual of dedicated detectives actively canvass ING the neighborhood was an enduring image of relentless, gritty determination, pounding the pavement, talking to anyone and everyone who might hold a piece of the puzzle, hoping against hope to uncover a breakthrough. Anything else you've been hearing Los is responsible for? Murdering. Joe, where'd you hear it? I don't know. What do you know about this Los? Scott, you got nothing to do with that? Have you heard anyone saying they know for a fact Carlos did this? No. Thank you. The frustration, a relentless, pervasive undercurrent, continued, despite the omnipresent, unconfirmed rumors circulating freely through the community. No one would publicly or directly offer legally admissible evidence that could be used in a court of law. Nobody is saying where their information is coming from. Nobody is saying much of anything to the point where I can get warrants. I can't get this guy off the streets right now. The justice system, in its imperative to meticulously protect individual rights and prevent wrongful accusations, demanded a significantly higher burden of proof. Charles Baycoat, despite the compelling, disturbing anecdotal evidence piling up against him, frustratingly remained a free man, a dangerous shadow walking the very streets where his alleged violence had terrorized the community. But a new, unexpected avenue of investigation, born from the details of the initial witness interview, suddenly offered a glimmer of desperate, tantalizing hope. With her keys at a standstill, one of our witnesses mentioned that Los was involved in another shooting. That shooting victim survived. We're going to talk to him and see if he says Los was the shooter. If he does, we can bring Los in for that AG assault. AG assault, aggravated assault, was a serious felony, and a positive, unequivocal identification by a surviving victim would finally provide the necessary legal grounds to secure an arrest warrant for Baycoat. Getting him off the streets, even for a separate, earlier crime, was absolutely crucial. It would allow the investigators to hold him in custody, conduct more extensive, legally sanctioned interviews, and perhaps create more direct opportunities to link him conclusively to Joe Love's murder through further interrogation or newly acquired evidence. This strategy, though indirect, was a vital and frequently employed tactic when direct murder charges were proving difficult to obtain quickly. Coolness located the previous victim, a man who had indeed survived an earlier encounter with violence, a potential, crucial link in their chain of evidence. All right, can I talk to you about a couple of things real quick? Yes. All right, I'm going to check your coolness. Okay, we've been talking to some people, and they said that you might have been in a car when it got. Shut up. Yeah, what happened? It was about 2 anti-meridium. I didn't see all the way back. He says, a couple of months ago, he was sitting in the car when a man walked up and opened fire for like 6 or 7 shots. Did you see anybody when this all happened? No. All right. Thank you, Sheriff. Disappointment, a familiar companion in these investigations, descended once more. Despite the promising lead, this victim, paralyzed by fear or genuine inability, could not definitively identify his shooter. Another frustrating blank wall in their tenacious pursuit. I think he's lying, but self-preservation. The chilling reality of the street code, where overwhelming fear and a desperate instinct for self-preservation often tragically trumped. Cooperation with law enforcement made witnesses retreat into silence for fear of brutal reprisal. However, the detectives' persistent efforts, their relentless canvassing, soon yielded a fresh lead. A second potential victim of Baycoat's alleged violence. 2 of his friends just showed up. What's up? Guys who shot up the car. Okay, what are the last couple of shootings in here? I don't know. Detectives get a name for a homeless man who was also allegedly shot by Los. Thank you. Sir, hopefully we can figure out if Los really shot him. That would help us out. I think that would be huge. This new potential victim, a homeless man, often an overlooked and profoundly vulnerable member of society, represented a new, vital opportunity. If he could identify Los as his assailant, it would definitively provide the AG assault charge needed to bring Baycoat in. This was a critical piece, potentially the leverage they so desperately needed to secure their suspect. 1 week later, a testament to the relentless, often grinding passage of time in criminal investigations, but also to an equal measure of unyielding effort and strategic patience. Coolness finally made direct contact. 1 week later, Coolness has made contact with the victim from the laundromat shooting. The seemingly mundane setting, a laundromat, a seemingly innocuous, everyday place like a hotel or an apartment complex, becoming, through a twist of fate, the backdrop for an act of brutal, casual violence. I just need him to come forward and be honest about what happened. This Coolness knew was often the hardest part, overcoming deep-seated fear, profound distrust of authority, and the inherent reluctance to become entangled in the perilous world of criminal prosecution. Coolness, understanding the delicate nature of the situation, carefully presented Baycoat's photograph to the vulnerable man. There he is. That's him? What's going on? I'm Detective Coolness. People have been talking about your incident and who might have shot you. Tell me about what happened. The victim, a vulnerable man living on the unforgiving streets, cautiously, tentatively, yet with a growing certainty, began to speak. He says the shooter was aiming at someone else when one of the bullets ricocheted and struck him in the leg. Okay, do you know who shot you? Carlos. Okay, so did you see this guy? Carlos? Who's that? Did you know Joe? It does. He's confident Los was the one who shot him. It's going to be something that we can move forward with in getting warrants against him, getting him off the street, but also bringing him in for an interview. The identification was positive, unequivocal, and delivered with absolute certainty. The homeless man, with no room for doubt, definitively named Carlos or Los as his assailant. This was the crucial, undeniable link, the solid, unassailable piece of evidence Coolness had been so desperately seeking. A clear corroboration of Baycoat's pattern of violence. An aggravated assault charge was now firmly within reach, providing the vital legal leverage to secure an arrest warrant for Charles Baycoat and, at long last, initiate the next crucial phase of the investigation into Joseph Love's murder. This was not yet a murder charge, but it was an absolutely critical, strategic step towards ultimately securing justice for Joseph Love. It meant they could pull Lowe, the dangerous and elusive street menace, off the streets, contain his immediate threat to the community, and subject him to a thorough, legally sanctioned interrogation, which often yielded further admissions, corroborating details, or critical new leads, breaking the silence around his criminal activities. The process was painstakingly slow, undeniably arduous, but inch by agonizing inch, the persistent, unyielding forces of justice were advancing, gaining ground. 3 weeks later, the relentless wheels of justice, though sometimes grinding agonizingly slowly, had finally caught up with Charles Baycoat. Okay, love you. Bye. Los was picked up. Patrol responded to an unrelated domestic dispute at Baycoat's mother's house and took him into custody. A seemingly unrelated incident, a heated domestic dispute at his mother's residence, provided the opportune, decisive moment. Patrol officers, responding diligently to a routine call for help, unknowingly served a higher, more profound purpose, apprehending the suspected killer Joseph Love based on the existing, legally valid aggravated assault warrant secured by Coolness's team. It was a stroke of fortunate timing, the unpredictable, yet often beneficial, confluence of various law enforcement actions that allowed for his capture. Coolness, seizing the critical moment, immediately went to interview Baycoat in custody, a chance to face him directly, to look into the eyes of the man they believed was a killer. All right, what's going on? All right, we're just hearing a lot going around about the kind of person you are, and I would rather hear what you have to say than letting other people tell it. All I'm trying to do is get your side of the story, okay? Coolness, a master of psychological interrogation, adopted a seemingly non-confrontational, almost conciliatory approach, feigning an openness and genuine willingness to hear Baycoat's side of the story. This classic technique often disarmed wary suspects, making them more inclined, however ill-advisedly, to speak, believing they could somehow manipulate the narrative in their favor or present a sympathetic, self-serving account. Charles's current charge at this time is an AG assault. He was lawfully in custody, the initial crucial victory secured, allowing the detectives time to build their case. The subsequent investigative efforts involved a meticulous, exhaustive consolidation of all available evidence, painstakingly preparing it for the formidable legal gauntlet of the district attorney's office and, ultimately, the grand jury, the body responsible for determining probable cause for indictment. All right, man, you ready? We're going to take the evidence from the shooting of the guy in the car, in addition to shooting the guy in the leg outside the laundromat, and from Joe's murder, and send it over to the BA's office. Hope we'll see. The meticulous collection of all incidents demonstrably linked to Baycoat, the previous, unconfirmed car shooting, even without a definitive victim identification, it contributed to establishing a dangerous pattern of behavior. The legally confirmed laundromat shooting and the murder of Joseph Love would be presented in a cohesive, compelling narrative, painting a comprehensive and utterly damning picture of his violent tendencies and providing a robust, compelling case for indictment, a strong enough body of evidence to persuade the grand jury. A phone call, often the harbinger critical, life-altering news for dedicated detectives, finally delivered the long-awaited, momentous breakthrough. Hello? Hey, Shannon, what's up? We got some good news for you. The grand jury decided to indict your Joseph Love. Case 2 AG assault counts and felony murder. The words were, quite literally, music to Coolness's ears, a symphony of long-sought justice. Well, isn't this cool? Thank you so much. I appreciate it. All right, we'll talk to you soon. All right, take care. Bye. The grand jury, a crucial mechanism in the criminal justice system, composed of citizens, had heard all the meticulously presented evidence and had determined there was overwhelming probable cause to formally charge Charles Baycoat not only with 2 counts of aggravated assault, but, most crucially, with the murder of Joseph Love. This momentous decision signified the undeniable strength of the combined, multifaceted evidence that Coolness and his team had so diligently assembled, a vindication of their tireless efforts. Coolness reflected, in a moment of quiet professional triumph, on how the intricate, often disparate, pieces of evidence, seemingly isolated at first, had ultimately converged with undeniable force to secure the crucial indictment. We had some circumstantial evidence to put the coat in the area with the gun immediately after the shooting. Joseph Love. We have him in the same area committing 2 other AG assaults, so that helped at the indictment. The compelling circumstantial evidence placing Baycoat physically near the crime scene, observed with a gun immediately after the shooting, coupled with his well-established pattern of unprovoked, brutal, aggravated assaults, had painted an incredibly compelling and convincing picture for the grand jury, clearly illustrating his dangerous character and propensity for lethal violence. It definitively connected Los, the feared street menace, to Charles Baycoat, the documented criminal, and then inexorably to Charles Baycoat, the indicted murderer. Hopefully, this will bring some closure to the family. Closure, Coolness knew, was a fleeting and fragile thing in the profound, agonizing wake of such an immeasurable loss. But it was an absolutely critical first step towards initiating the long, arduous process of healing and beginning the difficult, winding path toward the ultimate triumph of justice. 1 year after Joe's murder, the profound, devastating impact of his senseless loss continued to reverberate with an agonizing echo through the lives of his family, his loved ones. The initial numbing shock had gradually, reluctantly, given way to a deep, abiding sorrow, punctuated by precious moments of remembrance and a defiant, resilient celebration of the rich, vibrant life he had lived. Thank you. They took tonight. It was really important. We're in love with these children who are having to go day to day without them. We just, we talk about them every day and look at the pictures. We'll listen to his music. Feel happy. I have some Christmas music. We love you, Dad. I love you, Daddy. The heartfelt sentiments expressed by his still grieving children, echoing to the passage of time, spoke volumes of a father deeply, truly loved, whose profound presence had been a guiding, nurturing force in their lives. Even amidst the pain, his powerful, creative legacy lived on, a vibrant, resilient flame meticulously nourished by cherished memories and sustained by an unyielding, unbreakable family love. The enduring image of Joe Love as a local rapper and music producer, an entrepreneur who gave back, someone who ran a nonprofit that helped feed the homeless, was meticulously preserved and celebrated by his devoted loved ones. A poignant counter-narrative to the casual brutality that had so tragically claimed him. His artistic endeavors, his profound philanthropy, his unwavering commitment to his large, beautiful family, all stood in stark, devastating contrast to the casual malevolence that had so callously snuffed out his vibrant, promising existence. His children's poignant, heart-wrenching declarations, "I love you, Dad," and "I love you, Daddy," were a brutal, inescapable reminder of the immeasurable void left behind. An undeniable testament to the fact that while legal justice may eventually be served, the deep, indelible scars of loss remain, permanently etched upon the soul. His memory, his vibrant spirit, was meticulously preserved, lovingly kept alive through his music, through countless cherished photographs, and through the daily, comforting rituals of a grieving, yet profoundly resilient, family. They continue to honor him, to fiercely ensure that his life, so full of purpose and boundless giving, was remembered for far more than the tragic, violent manner of its ending. His story, they vowed, would forever inspire, educate, and remind everyone of the true, devastating cost of senseless violence and the unwavering, unyielding spirit of a family determined to carry his torch forward into the future. In Mobile, Alabama, the conclusion to Jessica Newcomb's murder was more swift, unfolding within the critical 48-hour window, but it was no less impactful, no less emotionally charged, and no less a testament to the pursuit of justice. Suspect Frederick Knight, Jr., his elaborate, fabricated narrative slowly but inexorably crumbling under the overwhelming weight of irrefutable, digital and forensic evidence and sustained, expert interrogation, reached a point of no return. His initial, desperate attempts to shift blame, to craft a self-serving story that painted Jessica as the irrational aggressor wielding a knife, had met with an unwavering, analytical wall of skepticism from Rogers. In the Mobile murder of Jessica Newcomb, suspect Frederick Knight, Jr. just admitted to pulling a gun on her. I think he means he likes how to grab a gun at this point. And then what did you do after that? I left. The other problem with everything is there's no knife in the room. I know I do the knife also that I overpass. Come on, man. Why would you do that? Because I was scared. Man, and where's the pills at? The pills got left there, and you just give me the money back? Yes, sir. So you left the pills and you left the money? Yeah, it's like I'm straight up. You lying too. Both of us? I'm not lying to you. Man, the money was in the room. Okay, what about the other kids? So where is it? She didn't have it. The skilled detectives meticulously dismantled his flimsy story, piece by agonizing logical piece, exposing its glaring contradictions. The irrefutable absence of a knife in the hotel room, meticulously documented by forensic technicians, directly contradicted his crucial claim of self-defense, rendering his entire narrative hollow. His evasive, contradictory statements regarding the money and pills, whether they were taken, whether they were left behind, or whether they were ever truly part of the equation, further eroded his already vanishing credibility, exposing his increasingly desperate, transparent attempts to lie his way out of a murder charge. His agitated demeanor, his panicked, evasive answers unmistakably confirmed his pervasive deception. Hey, look, I don't know what you're trying to do with you, but I'm telling you like this, since that's what you have. All right, he pretty much broke down. He said he shot this girl. He said that he was there. The moment of absolute truth arrived, stark and unavoidable. Overwhelmed and inextricably cornered by the undeniable, mounting facts and the weight of his own lies, Frederick Knight, Jr., finally, reluctantly, conceded. He admitted to shooting Jessica. The truth, brutally stripped bare of all his feeble attempts at self-preservation and calculated deception, stood exposed to what it was, a confession. 33 hours into the first 48, Detective Rogers closes his case. Frederick, we charge him with robbery first and murder. The rapid, decisive resolution of the case, achieved remarkably well within the critical 48-hour window, was a powerful testament to the swift, precise, and highly coordinated work of the entire mobile homicide unit, their expertise and dedication ensuring a swift pathway to justice. Rogers, his voice weary but now imbued with a profound sense of accomplishment, offered his precise, professional assessment of Frederick's likely motivations and, poignantly, Jessica's courageous, albeit ultimately tragic, resistance. I believe Freddie thought that was going to be an easy robbery, but, this girl, she put up a fight to refuse. You're not getting my money. Today, we got justice for Jessica. And that was good, and we got that before my daughter is born. So overall, today was a good day. The image of Jessica, a single mother, attended community college for nursing before dropping out, a young woman whose life, for all its vulnerabilities, harbored dreams and responsibilities, courageously fighting to protect her meager earnings, perhaps desperately for her 5-year-old son, elevated her from a mere victim to a courageous combatant, tragically outmatched but fighting with fierce dignity. The simple yet profound declaration of an overall good day for Rogers was a poignant, deeply human encapsulation of his dual triumph, bringing a measure of justice to Jessica and, simultaneously, anticipating the imminent arrival of his own daughter, a vibrant, unequivocal symbol of life's enduring continuity amidst the grim, ever-present shadow of death. The aftermath of Jessica's murder, for her devoted family, was a lifetime sentence of grief, an emotional landscape forever marked by a devastating, irreparable emptiness. The emotional chasm left by her murder could never truly be filled. It remained an open, aching wound, the unspoken questions, the countless agonies, the relentless struggle to comprehend such a senseless, brutal act, lingered like an unhealing wound, perpetually raw. Frederick Knight, Jr.'s capture and subsequent charges offered a crucial degree of accountability, a legal resolution to the crime, but it could never, ever erase the profound and enduring pain of loss that enveloped her loved ones, a pain that time could only soften, never obliterate. And for her young son, an innocent child, now left to navigate a bewildering world without his mother, the raw, unfiltered grief of childhood, uncomplicated by adult rationalizations, resonated with a heartbreaking, brutal simplicity. His innocent hope, tragically crushed by an insurmountable, unchangeable reality, was a stark, poignant reminder of the long, devastating shadow cast by senseless violence. His entire family's devastation was profound, a communal agony shared deeply among them. When we found out, it broke the family down, but it came together. We supported each other. In the searing crucible of shared sorrow, families often forged new, unbreakable bonds of resilience, drawing immense strength and solace from one another to carry on Jessica's memory, to honor her life, and to find a way to rebuild in the face of absolute loss. The message to the perpetrator, direct, resolute, and unyielding, serve as a powerful, poignant statement of a family's enduring love and, fundamentally, the ultimate futility of his heinous act. To the person that took her life, she almost destroyed a loving, wonderful family. But she did. She only let Jesse go home early. The profound assertion that he had only let Jesse go home early spoke to an unwavering faith, a deep-seated belief in a higher purpose and an ultimate spiritual homecoming, fundamentally transforming an act of profound depravity into a premature, sacred journey. This statement was a powerful reclaiming of spiritual agency, a defiant refusal to grant the perpetrator the ultimate victory of total destruction, a testament to the family's enduring hope and profound belief in an eternal spirit. And for Detective Rogers, a deeply profound, personal moment became irrevocably intertwined with the grim, daily reality of his demanding profession. The arrival of his daughter, London, whose name was already decided, a name full of history and future, marked a powerful, emotional counterpoint to his relentless confrontation with mortality. London, you know who that is? That's your neighbor sister. Paris, a layer of Rogers, the newest Rogers family,